Candace Owens just dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through royal watchers everywhere. According to her, Meghan's carefully crafted pregnancy story doesn't just raise questions, it cracks open a web of contradictions that no one can explain. And this time, it's not just Candace sounding the alarm. A hospital insider from inside Portland Hospital, the very place where Meghan claims she gave birth, has come forward with quiet but chilling details. Information that was never supposed to leave those private maternity walls. And once you hear it, you'll understand why so many are now asking the same haunting question. What really happened the night Archie was born? This isn't tabloid gossip or internet speculation. This is a timeline that simply does not hold up under scrutiny. According to Prince Harry's own memoir, Meghan had not one but 2 epidurals, gave birth at Portland Hospital, and was already back home at Frogmore Cottage within 2 hours. 2 hours. That's the detail that sparked everything, because to the average person, 2 hours might sound fast, but to anyone who has ever gone through childbirth or worked inside a hospital, that timeline doesn't just seem unlikely, it seems medically impossible. Let's break it down. On a normal day with no traffic, the drive from Portland Hospital to Frogmore Cottage takes about an hour. So if they were home just 2 hours after birth, that means Meghan gave birth, recovered from 2 separate spinal injections, had doctors monitor her, nurses check the baby, paperwork processed, security arranged, bags packed, and then traveled an hour home, all within 60 minutes. For experienced medical professionals, that story doesn't raise eyebrows. It blows them off completely. And the part about the 2 epidurals? That's where things go from strange to deeply suspicious. Because epidurals aren't something you casually get twice, like ordering an extra dessert. The standard procedure involves inserting a single catheter into the spine, a careful, sterile, high-skill process. Once it's in, medication levels are adjusted through that same catheter. You don't need to redo the whole thing. In fact, repeating it during active labor is so rare that most hospitals would only allow it in an emergency, and even then it requires escalation, oversight, and extra documentation. But Harry describes it like it's no big deal, as if Meghan just said, "Sure, I'll have another." And that's only the beginning. If the timeline raised doubts, the location raised even bigger ones. Because the version of Portland Hospital that Harry described in his memoir, the place where Meghan supposedly delivered Archie, doesn't exist, at least not in the way he paints it. Before Meghan ever stepped through its doors, Portland Hospital was already famous. Known for its luxury, privacy, and sky-high price tags, it's one of the most exclusive maternity clinics in the UK. But here's the truth that never makes it to glossy magazines. Portland is not a standard emergency hospital. It has no ER, no trauma department, no sprawling, fast-moving corridors packed with flashing machines and shouting doctors. It's a specialist facility, designed for planned births, high-end maternal care, and complex cases that still fall within their limited scope. And if anything goes wrong beyond those limits, the hospital has one rule: transfer immediately. Now, contrast that with the birth scene Harry described: a dimly lit room, candles glowing, a birthing ball in the corner, soft music in the background, Meghan inhaling nitrous oxide, and Harry stumbling around high on the laughing gas meant for her. The entire moment sounds less like a high-risk medical delivery and more like a wellness retreat for Instagram influencers. And that's not just opinion, it's medical reality. According to staff familiar with Portland's procedures, no one, not even a royal, is left alone with nitrous oxide. No tanks are left unattended. No one accidentally breathes it all in. Laughing gas is a controlled substance. It's monitored, tracked, and locked up tight. If a partner emptied the tank during labor, it wouldn't be a funny story. It would be a hospital violation. But Harry tells it like a lighthearted moment in a romantic comedy. Then there's the issue of discharge. The insider who spoke out made something crystal clear. There are no 2-hour discharges. None. Not for VIPs, not for celebrities, not even for royals. Especially not for a patient who had undergone 2 separate spinal procedures, needed postpartum monitoring, and had just delivered a newborn. and certainly not from a hospital that doesn't even have a standard discharge wing for emergency cases. But Harry's story keeps drifting further into fantasy. The candles, the relaxed setting, the glowing tub, the cozy atmosphere. The scene he describes sounds like a spa, not a highly regulated maternity clinic. And yet, no one questioned it, until now. As if the medical contradictions weren't enough, the royal side of the story is where everything begins to unravel completely. Because when it comes to royal births, there is one rule that has never been broken. The Queen must be informed, immediately. It's not symbolic. It's not tradition for tradition's sake. It's a standing royal protocol, an unshakable one. Whether it was Princess Diana, Kate Middleton, or even Queen Elizabeth herself, when a royal woman goes into labor, the palace is alerted at once. Security is heightened. Press teams are prepped. The crown's machinery moves into place like clockwork. Why? Because a child born into the royal line isn't just a family member. They're a national figure. Their birth is documented, witnessed, and recorded with precision. But with Meghan, that didn't happen. According to insider reports, when Meghan supposedly went into labor, there was no royal alert, no message to the Queen, no formal notice from the palace, no security escalation, no sign that the family, let alone the monarchy, had been looped in. If Meghan truly gave birth to Archie inside Portland Hospital under royal protection, then this would mark the first time in modern history that the monarchy broke its own code of procedure. But why would they do that? Why would palace staff go dark on the most important rule of all, unless the story they were told didn't match what was really happening? And while royal protocol was vanishing into thin air, Meghan's own words started shifting too. Not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. When asked why the press wasn't notified about Archie's birth, Meghan gave a different answer each time. First, she said they didn't want to block the hospital's emergency entrance. But Portland doesn't even have a public ER, so there was nothing to block. Then, she said the press didn't deserve a photo because of racism in the media, a completely different explanation. And later, she changed her tune again, claiming they did notify the press, but the press simply didn't show up. 3 explanations, 1 moment, no consistency, and none of them match what actually happens during a royal birth. Because the press is never left to guess. They are informed officially, through carefully timed royal communication channels. They don't just miss the memo. They don't just not show up. And that's when investigators noticed something deeper. When a single important event keeps being explained in multiple ways, it often means one thing: the truth hasn't been told yet. And what came next? That's when the real story started to fall apart. Just when the contradictions were beginning to stack too high to ignore, another detail slipped out, quietly, almost like a footnote. Meghan claimed she had been diagnosed with preeclampsia. To the untrained ear, it might sound like just another medical condition, but to doctors and maternity professionals, it set off alarm bells that couldn't be silenced. Preeclampsia isn't mild, it isn't cute, and it absolutely isn't something you bounce back from overnight. It's a dangerous, unpredictable condition that can cause organ failure, seizures, and in extreme cases, death, for both mother and child. The treatment protocol is rigid: constant monitoring, magnesium sulfate drips, hourly vitals, and strict bed rest. Patients are often kept under fluorescent lights in intensive care-like settings. Every breath, every heartbeat, every blood pressure spike is tracked. There are no candles, no birthing balls, no peaceful discharges. But in Meghan's version of events, there was none of that. In fact, just weeks after giving birth, Meghan was seen traveling internationally, walking red carpets, smiling for cameras, and attending high-profile events like nothing had happened. Her schedule was packed. Her energy seemed limitless. There was no sign of fatigue, no postpartum frailty, no protective medical bubble, no evidence of recovery from what should have been a medically supervised condition. Doctors began asking a hard question. If she truly had preeclampsia, where were the symptoms? Because the version of Meghan's recovery we all saw doesn't line up with the recovery that actually follows a life-threatening pregnancy complication. And then, The smallest details began to fracture the story even more. One of Harry's most casually told stories may have become the biggest clue of all. He claimed he left the hospital room at 2 a.m. to pick up Nando's chicken for Meghan. It was meant to sound sweet, caring, a relatable new dad moment in the chaos of labor. But there was one problem. Nando's closes at 11 p.m. And Portland Hospital, it has 24-hour private chefs. VIP patients can order 5-star meals at any hour. So why would Harry need to leave in the middle of the night for fast food that wasn't even open, when the hospital already had full gourmet service available? Then came the infamous secret elevator. Harry described it as a hidden royal passageway, an escape route used to leave the hospital unseen. It sounds like something from a spy movie, but according to hospital insiders, it doesn't exist. Not for royals, not for anyone. There is no secret elevator. There is no hidden exit. Even high-profile patients are wheeled through normal corridors, with staff escorts, yes, but no tunnels, no hidden doors, and no fantasy escape slides. And it gets worse, because even the identity of Archie's delivering doctor was called into question. For months, the media believed it was one physician. Then, later, that name was denied. Other names were floated. Reports had to be corrected. No clear record emerged. And for a royal birth? That's unprecedented. Every royal delivery has a documented witness, a verified medical team, an official record. But for Archie's, nothing was ever made public with certainty. And when birth records go fuzzy in a monarchy known for precise paperwork, the silence speaks volumes. From the beginning, Meghan and Harry sold us a fantasy, a magical candlelit birth, soft music, intimate lighting, a rush of joy, then a quiet ride home to Frogmore Cottage. It sounded like a dream come true. But dreams don't survive when you start pulling back the curtain, because behind that warm glow is a list of contradictions so sharp it could cut through concrete. The insider testimony, the impossible 2-hour window, the 2 epidurals, the laughing gas violation, the ignored royal protocol, the luxury hospital that doesn't match the story, the supposed preeclampsia that never required recovery, the glamorous flights, the flawless appearances, the meals that didn't make sense, the elevator that didn't exist, the doctor no one can confirm. And when stories start to collapse under the weight of their own fantasy, the truth begins to breathe. Not loudly, not all at once, but quietly, persistently, until it becomes undeniable. What Meghan and Harry presented to the world wasn't just a private memory. It was a narrative, a carefully curated moment designed for maximum effect. But fairy tales only work when no one asks questions. And now, people are asking. Too many inconsistencies, too many details that don't align, too many insiders whispering that what happened behind those hospital walls doesn't match the version told to the public. The deeper you dig into this story, the clearer it becomes. Something doesn't add up. Not medically, not procedurally, not historically, not even logically. Because this isn't just about a baby. This isn't about a photo call or a tabloid rumor. It's about whether an entire event, an entire royal birth, was scripted, or worse, staged. And if this part of Meghan's story was altered, softened, reimagined, what else was? Insiders continue to speak, carefully and anonymously. Details are being cross-referenced. Timelines are being analyzed. Experts are weighing in. And each new revelation doesn't close the case. It opens it wider. Because when a story this high profile begins to crumble, the truth doesn't go away. It doesn't disappear. It lingers. It presses forward. It demands to be seen, no matter how carefully someone tries to bury it. And now, one question echoes louder than all the rest. If the birth of Archie was a lie, how many other lies have yet to be exposed?